Well, welcome to Momentum Fitness Life Group session number 3. The title of today's session is Fight to Eat Right. And we're going to bring in a special VIP guest that are actually going to go on location and interview. You'll hear that in just a few moments. But I wanted to set the pace for this session. And once again, I'm so glad that you're pressing on with your personal health. And I want to encourage you, have a buddy that can help you and assist you and walk through this and get some points for your life group, because there will be a winning life group and the prize will be amazing. Probably Farrell's or something like that. But so we're so glad. I'm so proud of you for pressing on. Jesus, when he was doing battle with the enemy, said this. He says, "Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God." And so men and women, as you talk about this, we have to remember that we are first spiritual beings, but this body is a body that runs on food. It runs on resource. If you've ever had or owned, or perhaps right now you have a high performance vehicle, that means that it's a car that's meant to get up and go, to move, and to has the need for speed. Man, high performance vehicles are fun. But if you put in a low octane fuel in a high performance car, guess what? It ain't gonna run very well. And the same thing is true of our bodies. You may not think of your body as a high performance vehicle, but in reality, it really is. Part of the issue is that what we're putting into it doesn't help it to run. If you've had a high performance vehicle, you put the wrong gas into it, guess what it does? It will still run, but it doesn't run like it's supposed to. It kind of sputters, it hesitates, it's not as quick, it's not as responsive. But if you put the right kind of gas in it, it is ready to go, fun to drive. And the same thing you're going to find in your life, in your session, in your group session today, and I'm sure in many other times you've studied it as well too, is that when you eat the right kind of foods, it provides the resource, the fuel, if you will, to really live your life at the highest level. So you have to fight to eat right. It is true that man doesn't live on bread alone, but he does live on bread. And you need to live on the right kind of breads even. The kind of breads you eat are important. I teased with you guys recently that I love pasta, and that's why they call me Pasta Bob. But I also love breads, but I've grown to really love whole grain breads. And so there are healthy options that will get you the same satisfaction and give more resource to your body. Revelations 19:9 says that blessed are those who will be invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb. Once again, there's the reference to food and its special place. Food is a gift from God. It's a good thing. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 12 through 14. Ecclesiastes is kind of a depressing book. Some would hypothesize that Solomon wrote it during his midlife crisis because nothing seems to satisfy him very much. But he does say several times this sort of thought as reflected in Ecclesiastes 3. I know that nothing is better for them than to rejoice and to do good in their lives, verse 13 of Ecclesiastes 3, and also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of God. The Lord does want us to enjoy our life. He does want us to enjoy friends. He wants us to enjoy what we do. He wants us to enjoy what we eat and what we drink. So food is a good thing, but the right kind of food is even better. And that's what we're going to be talking to you about for the rest of this time together. Let me remind you of something. Just as you feed your body daily, whether or not you're feeding it good food or not, I don't know. That's hopefully what you're going to get better at. So you need to feed your spirit daily as well too. And if I could, I would make all of us promise together. I'd make us raise our right hands right now and promise together that we will never go to bed at night without reading some of the Word of God. I wouldn't recommend waiting until the end of the day to read the Word of God, but if you haven't spent some time feeding your soul, let me strongly encourage you to do that, because fasting from the things of God is a lie and a deception of the enemy. God wants your spirit strong. Read the Word every day. Promise to never go to sleep until you've opened up that Word and read passage of Scripture. Of course, we have a plan for that in our DNA journals, and we talk about that a lot, which you should be doing in your life group fellowship anyway. All right, so when we talk about foods, talk about the right kind of foods to eat. Just before we go to our expert, which you're going to meet in just a moment, good foods are whole foods. That'd be things like nuts, vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. Those are good foods for you to eat. And it may not sound exciting, but when you put them together in the right mixture, it can be really quite wonderful. I've heard it said that if it grows on a plant, eat it. If it's made in a plant, don't. That's kind of a funny way to think about it. But anything that's healthy food that grows on a plant, that's a whole food, that's a living food, will provide resource to your body. But if it's processed, the chances are it's not going to be all that good for you. Now, I'm not an expert on food, but there are plenty of experts. Let me once again refer you to the website, danielplan.com, danielplan.com. And just as one final thing I want to say to you as well is that just reading the backs of labels is not going to get you where you want to be with your health, because not all calories are equal. Some are empty calories that aren't going to have any return. Some are good calories, calories that comes out of fruits, which I love fruits. Those are good calories. They will process and burn in your body. But the other stuff, which we won't mention, Ben and Jerry's, is not going to provide for your body the fuel that it needs to run. Okay, so you're going to enjoy this next segment, and so watch on here. Well, I promised you that I was going to introduce you to an expert, and we have one that I'm about to introduce you to right now. You're going to recognize Zach Rudolph from being on our platform. He's been our bass player since our church started, and we're so honored that he's been a part of the church team for so long. However, him and his wife Diana are really our experts in the areas of health and fitness and nutrition. Here's Zach Rudolph. Zach, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, I don't know if I'd consider myself an expert, but I guess years of time does eventually make you good at something and you understand what you're doing. So I do understand what I'm doing. I've grew up really, my dad actually got into bodybuilding when I was really young. So I you know, all boys want to be like their dad. So I was just like, I want to be super dad, you know. I want to be a Superman like my dad is. So that got me going. And I was just happened to be a kid who was into it. And then I think when I got into college, I had some roommates. One of them was Brian Clay, the gold medalist, right. The world greatest athlete World's right now. Athlete. Yeah, crazy. Absolutely. So he's from Azusa, yeah. So we were roommates, and just watching his work ethic as he worked out, I was just like, oh, this is so much fun. So I would go work out with him. I got really highly involved in that. And then that led me to getting a job at Bally's through his good friend from Hawaii. Long story short, I had then been in the field of doing fitness and training for 10 to 12 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So it's been exciting.
Yeah. Now, Zach, you're going to talk to us today about nutrition, about what we put into our bodies. And so do you have some tips and some ideas that could help those of us that aren't necessarily, we're not like you, we're not trainers, we're just kind of normal people, some ideas and some suggestions that would be beneficial as we talk about our nutrition?
Definitely. I know when I am training people, that is the thing that they always want to know, you know, what else can I do at home, which is 90% of the battle, I think, is what you're putting in more than sometimes the exercise you're putting out. So I would do it in this order, and I think this applies because depending on whatever level the people who are watching here this morning or this afternoon or this evening, I don't know when this is going on, but depending on whatever level everybody is at, you can be able to jump on board with what I'm about to say and plug yourself in. So for instance, the beginner, right from the start, I would say water. The first thing you should be doing is cutting out everything except water for the most part. You know, milk, coffee a day is not going to kill you, so on and so forth. However, for instance, sodas alone, 96 calories in a soda, times what the average person drinks in a year is somewhere near like 70,000 calories. I did a second to calculate this because I'm not this smart on the fly, but that equates to about 22 pounds of fat a year.
That you're trying to keep off.
That you're trying to keep off your body, and if you just didn't drink soda, boom, it's 22 pounds gone. Just like that.
Tip number one is start with water. That you encourage all of us to get off the other different things that we choose to drink and start drinking more water. Okay, so what else would you say in terms of what we're eating?
Yeah. Regarding eating, I would say if you're the beginning, water. If you pass that, if you're an avid water drinker, move on to the second step, which is breakfast.
Oh.
Breakfast, I know most people would have thought I might have said something else, but I am a big proponent of breakfast. That is a huge thing. It gets your metabolism going. That's the main reason is breakfast, the word in itself sounds break fast, as we all know. Yeah. You've been fasting. We don't normally go that long without food during a day. We don't normally go that long. So some people are sleeping, in my newborn baby state, sleeping a few hours. Some of us are sleeping 10, 12, 8 hours, 6 hours. That's a long time to go without your metabolism burning and keeping your whole system running smoothly. So as soon as you can, it is recommended to get up and get breakfast in you. The sooner the better.
All right, so we're going to start with breakfast, right? And get our metabolism up and working, is that right? Because I know a lot of people, if they're like me, I'm not even hungry until about 2 o'clock, and then I'm hungry until midnight, which is probably completely backwards, is what I would guess, right?
One of the reasons being is because you need to keep your metabolism burning in order to burn your fuel efficiently. You want to be burning all day long. Your body's a machine, an awesome machine that God's given us. Yeah. You want to keep that machine running as smoothly as possible, just like your car. Yeah. You want to keep the oil in it. You don't want to let it deplete down to zero. And your body literally will go into a starving mode and will hold on to the fat that is there. So if you don't eat breakfast, you don't really get to lunch in time because you were too busy. You finally eat at 5 o'clock. Yeah. That whole time, your body is actually internally, you don't know this is going on, but internally, you're holding on to fat cells because that's the thing that's going to keep you alive the longest. If you were starving in the desert, your fats will help keep you. Your body would be eating your fat cells to keep you alive for the first few days. Then it'll be eating into your muscles, and eventually, hopefully it doesn't go this far, but you will die eventually. Right. But so that's what your body goes into that state where it's not burning efficiently because it thinks, I don't know when I'm eating next. I don't know what you're planning here, but you haven't got me on a routine, and I may not be eating soon, so I'm gonna hold on to this fat into my system until that's actually what happens. Wow. So the sooner you can get your metabolism up and going and running, the smoother it'll be, and just keep putting that in as often as possible.
Great. Okay, good. Yeah. So I'm going to start with breakfast. Water, breakfast. What else do we need to know about our eating?
Okay, the third one that I would do is snacking. Snacking is definitely number 3. So water, breakfast, snacking. Because regarding this goes along perfectly with breakfast, is you got to keep the metabolism, like I was saying, running efficiently all throughout the day. So you don't want to imagine your car, for some reason the car and the body always works well for me. You want to keep your fuel line or all your gauges of your liquids on the line. You want to keep, or even in the middle. They recommend that your oil or gas never goes down too low because it gets into the dirty sediment and so on and so forth. Yeah. It's better to keep when your gas tank gets to about halfway to just fill it back up. Don't let it go so low. Right. It's the same thing with your body. You're better off when your metabolism burning every 3 to 4 hours. So I would recommend you get a snack in your system every 3 to 4 hours.
Like a Snickers bar?
No.
What kind of snacks are we supposed to eat?
For that deep down hunger inside. Yes, that's actually the next step. So that actually leads into the 4th, I think, step, which we said water. What was next? Breakfast, snacking, and then the nutrition within the snack is the next step. And honestly, these 4 things is how I eat and live and die by these things. They're actually quite simple. The way you snack is ideally the snack within itself. So this is where, for the person who drinks good water, they eat breakfast, they snack, and they're like, but I'm still kind of at a plateau. My next recommendation would be check your snacks. What's the snack like? Is it a Snickers bar? Instantly. That's out. Instantly. Is it just an apple? That's not good either. Let me explain. Apples are great. Awesome. Bananas are great, so on and so forth. But by themselves, they don't help your metabolism burn efficiently because it's just a carb. So this is where it gets a little more technical, but if you're at this level, you need to dive in to this type of thinking. Again, I'll go back to the car. Your car has predominantly 3 predominant fluids: gas, oil, and transmission fluid. Those are the 3 ones we should be checking and know what they do. The same goes for your body. Your body uses 3 things: carbs, proteins, and fats. Those are the 3 things that keeps your engine running, let's say. So as soon as those things are depleted, or if there's one missing, the car doesn't run. If you have all the gas in the car, you have your transmission fluid, but your oil light is completely gone, you know, you're not going anywhere. It's the same thing with how the metabolism burns food and how it uses these calories for fuel. So if your snack is just a carbohydrate, your body's like, thanks, cool. You know, I feel kind of full for the moment, but your metabolism isn't burning fat. So you actually burn more fat in a resting state. So right now, you resting is actually when your body's burning the fat. It's the metabolism, how your body metabolizes is how you burn throughout the day. Each person's different. But you can kind of train it to be better. And this is one of the ways by training it, and this is how you train, one of the ways you train it is by giving it in equal amounts, or not equal amounts, the correct amounts, the correct amount. Just like there's not equal amounts of oil, gasoline, and transmission. There's actually more gas than oil and more oil than transmission fluid. The same way should be with your snack. So think about your snack, look at whatever it is. It should be mostly carbs, equating to gas.
What are healthy carbs? Just give me 2 or 3.
Fruit is a healthy carb, a vegetable is a healthy carb, salad.
What about any sort
Even, I'm not
whole grains?
I'm into whole grains. I'm not bread free, definitely not. But whole grains, a sprouted grain is a good one.
So those are healthy carbs.
Those are healthy carbs.
Okay, so what's next?
Then next would be protein.
Okay, so are we talking nuts?
Nuts is one. That's great. Nuts, meats, lean meats, fish, chicken, dairies like cottage cheese, yogurts.
Those are healthy proteins?
The thing about yogurts and dairies is they're kind of a combination of multiple things. Sure. But yes, that would be, they can't fall into that category of protein. Okay, so let's say a snack. Here's a good example of a snack. Is an apple is a cool carb, but then apple with peanut butter, which is funny because that's what we've been feeding our kids, you know, since kindergarten, preschool, is a perfect snack. Obviously not with Skippy. I don't recommend Skippy. With a healthy alternative, that is a complete snack. It's like a complete snack ready to like burn in your system efficiently, because the apple is the carb. There's protein in the nuts, which you said, and then within nuts is an oil that is a healthy fat. And people are often very scared of fat, but you need that fat, just like you need the transmission fluid. Without it, your car's not turning. You know, it's the same. It's the same thing. It keeps your brain fluid. It keeps your joints fluid. A lot of things. It works much better. It keeps the cells in your body going throughout your system with this fat. So that's why that's a great snack. Another good snack could be healthy crackers and cheese. Could be a good snack because a good cheese and the quality of what you put into this has a lot to do with it. I mean. So a healthy whole grains cracker with a well-cultured cheese is another great snack. The cheese has got the protein and the fat, and then you get your carbs from your.
So let me ask you then one final question. So we're gonna do water, breakfast, snacks, healthy snacks. What was it? What was the other one we talked about?
And the last one would be how would you say this? The nutrition within the snack, I think.
The nutrition within the snack. Okay, so if I got those down, then I'm still thinking breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, so like what sort of things I understand I'm going to eat more often to keep the metabolism up, but just in terms of thinking breakfast, lunch, dinner, what are healthy ways to eat those more primary meals?
My answer would be this, because I don't like dieting and telling people what to eat but it's more important that they learn. If you're at this level, if you're at past the water and if you're at this level, it's better to learn what to eat and the portions of how to eat these things. So that's more important, because if I try to tell somebody eat brown rice, they're like, I hate brown rice, I'm gonna be fat. No, it's not true. If you don't like brown rice, try something else that is also healthy, that is a good carb, and you put it in that place. So if I went by and told you what I had every breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you might like it, you might hate it, but there is something you can find that you like, I guarantee, that would be healthy. So again, I use that same mindset of, basically it's a snack, but it's a bigger snack. Same goal should be, if you're looking at your plate, you should have carbs, you should have your protein, and you should have a fat. That should all be in your breakfast, and it kind of happens naturally. It's without thinking about it. The food we make often is the healthy food we make comes in that type of thing. Let's, for instance, a salad, a meat for dinner, and let's say a brown rice. You know,
They're
boom,
all-
it's all
everything's
there.
there.
It's all there.
Yeah.
You know, so it'll happen if you learn that mindset of getting the right amounts of proteins, fats, and not being afraid of any of those three things. Be encouraged. You're not just going to change this mindset and be thinking like this all the time. I kind of think like this without even thinking like this. It just happens, and it's just the way I eat now, and I don't even think about it. So I would encourage whoever's out there listening to this to just be interested, because stuff will, like, you know, when you just bought a red car and all you see is red cars. When you're talking about health and nutrition, you'll see these things and stuff that you'll look around it and you'll see a book and you'll read it up, pick it up and look at it and then question it. You know, you'll look around, you'll see stuff and pick up a little bit at a time, because to read a whole book on nutrition is overwhelming for me even. You know, so that I have a few, and but if I do reference them, I would encourage them, don't be overwhelmed by diving into something, maybe feeling like you're sinking a little bit. You know, pick up a little bit here, pick up the one step at a time. Start with the water. So just keep your eyes open on these topics, and they'll show up. I feel like they show up all the time. Yeah.
Great. Okay, guys. Zach Rudolph, and so good luck in your groups and your discussions today.